Assalamualaikum and hello to Dr. Rohaya. We are from Group 5 and today we will be presenting about a task that has been given to us where we need to compare and contrast 5 different types of text. So without further ado, let's start, shall we? But before we begin, I would like to introduce our group members to you, which are Nur ATIRAH binti Joseph, Nur AZIZI Sofia binti Muhammad AZIZI, which is me. Next, we have Wan Khan, and last but not least, Nur Syazwani binti Muhammad Shukri. Now, here are the contents of our presentation today. We will start with newspaper report, then the second one is movie review. After that, we will continue with a letter to the editor, then proceed with online blog. The last text that we will be looking at later is comic. And finally, we are going to compare and contrast these 5 different texts altogether. I'll start with the first text, which is newspaper report. A brief definition of newspaper report is a news story that appears in newspapers or on the internet. The purpose of newspaper report is to inform readers about significant events that take place around the world. In most cases, a single newspaper coverage will focus on a single recent occurrence, and it is important for newspaper report to be objective and factual, instead of using one's own opinion, as newspaper report covers an actual event that has happened. The audience are mostly people who take interest in news or major event that happened recently. Since newspaper report aims to inform, formal language is used for this type of text. Hence, casual and conversational language should be avoided. Other than that, newspaper report does have a specific format that consists of catchy and concise headline, byline that tells the reader the identity of the writer, a brief introduction, and the main section of your newspaper, which is the body of the piece. That is all for my part. Now I'll pass the presentation to the next member. Thank you.
A very good day to Dr. Rahaya. I am Mohd Khan and I will be representing Group 5 in presenting about movie reviews, letter to the editor, and comparison and contrast between each of the written text types. Let us first start with the movie review. A movie review is written for the purpose of describing a plot and analyzing the film in terms of artistic value, technical skill, and cultural representations. These reviews' targeted audience are more to the people who are interested in watching that movie, and generally they are young adults. The language used in movie reviews differs from informal to formal. This is because there are actually 2 types of movie reviews, a formal one and an informal one. This is because movie reviews have been democratized and pretty much anyone with an internet connection can make a movie review. In general, formal movie reviews are more professional, while informal ones are less professional. But both fulfill the requirement of what makes a text a movie review, which is giving an overall opinion on the movie. As for the format, formal reviews usually follow the order of this: introduction, into summary, into analysis, and finally an overall opinion. As for informal reviews, they need not follow a formal reviews format exactly. They can write however they want, but in the end, they must give an overall opinion. That is all for movie reviews. Let's move on to a letter to the editor. Next, I will present regarding the letter to the editor, or also known as editorial letters. The purpose of these letters are to highlight a problem in a published article. For example, an error in data or date present in that article. This is to encourage the editors to fix their mistakes in the future to avoid misinformation. The audience of an editorial letter is obviously to the editor of the published article. However, other people, usually those who are interested in articles in general, may also read them. The language used in editorial letters are formal, and the format used is similar to a formal letter, so the usual elements such as addresses, designations, and so on are present. That is all for my part on a letter to the editor. Thank you.
Thank you, Wan Khan. Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is ATIRAH Binti Joseph and my matric number is 157765. In this part of my presentation, I would like to talk about an online blog. So first of all, the purpose of online blog. The first point is to help get your website found. The ultimate goal in creating blog is to drive as much as traffic to your website as possible. When you create a blog post, this creates one more indexed page on your website, meaning it's one more opportunity for you to show up in search engines and drive traffic to your website. Creating content regularly informs search engines such as Google that your website is actively updated and therefore should be checked frequently to see what new content has surfaced. Second, the blog is a long term. Once a blog is indexed in search engine, it stays there, meaning your blog can still gain traffic and generate lead weeks, months, and even after a year. Don't look for instant leads and hundreds of views. Build your view, give time to generate interest, and the blog topics that are timeless will constantly generate more views month after month, so make sure to write about topics you will be of interest to your target audience. Last but not least is blog give your company a voice. Blogs allow you to share information about your business and its service, allows you to share opinions and thoughts on certain topics. Next is a targeted audience for online blog. Online blog audience is a blog audience. So, blog audience is a group of people who visits and returns to a blogger site. It is also developing a true audience as opposed to gaining unique visits through search engine optimization. It's a sole order for bloggers as internet users tend to have variable tastes. After that, the language used for write an online blog. Some experts recommend writers to use HTML. HTML is the hypertext markup language. It is the most basic one that can be recommended to write online blog. It is because the HTML coding is always going to be handy. There may come a time when you will face issues with posts and formatting. So having HTML knowledge will be helpful in situations such as this. Additionally, when you want to place ads in your blog's widgets or in the theme code, knowing basic HTML codes will make your work easier. Still, HTML is the easiest language to learn, and within 2 or 3 hours time, you can be someone who can talk, eat, and walk HTML. Last but not least for me is the format used to write an online blog. First of all, organize the content logically. An organized blog post will mean different things to different publishers depending on the type, length, and style of your content. Second, make your blog post scannable. Scanning an article is not cheating. There is no morally right way to read a post. So, making your content scannable doesn't mean training it of its complexity. Instead, it means using the available tools to make your article visually attractive, as it useful or entertaining. Third, incorporate media intentionally. It is something that best explained visually. That's not a knock on books or newsletter, it's an invitation to learn how to combine different media types to give your reader best experience possible. 4. Match the reader intent. If you want to improve your content dramatically, ask this question every time you want to publish. What is a reader expecting to see when they click on this blog post? So every piece of formatting you include should help you answer that question while fulfilling your reader intent. 5. Experiments to get noticed. Some rules are meant to be broken, which one of those up to you. So, many of the best practice blogs now follow where once experienced themselves that caught on because they work. The features of blogging will be shaped through the same process. Last but not least, end your blog with some conclusion. That will be good to conclude your blog. Thank you.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Syazwani BINTI Shukri, and I'm going to explain about comment. Basically, the purpose of comment is to entertain the reader through their series, and as for the author, it helps to express the opinion through illustration. And then the target audience for comment is between children age 8 and also adult age 25. So because this audience usually love to read comment. And then we have the languages used. So usually they will use informal language because it is very laid back and it can help connect with the reader, as well as it is humorous usually. And then the last one is the format of comment. So comment contains these panels that contains illustration inside, and usually there will be speech bubble as well as texture devices such as onomatopoeia. I give you to the one that can.
Up next, I will be comparing and contrasting between the 5 written texts. As we can see here, movie reviews, online blogs, and comics have somewhat a similar purpose, which is to express and describe what they think and see. Newspaper reports and editorial letters are article related, where one is to inform the world about what's happening, while the other is to highlight the problem in the article if there are any. So in a sense, they complement each other. As for the audience, movie reviews and online blogs and comics have similar audience in the sense that it appeals to whoever is interested in those written texts. Newspaper reports target people interested in knowing what's happening around the world, while editorial letters target mainly the editor of the newspaper report. Next, we will compare about the language. As we can see clearly here, newspaper reports and editorial letters both use a formal language, since it is filled with the most professionalism, while online blogs and comics are more informal, which allows authors to push their creativity in writing to the max. Movie reviews have both formal and informal languages depending on what type of movie review it is, as aforementioned in the movie review part earlier. And finally, the format. Newspaper reports and movie reviews have a similar format in the sense that both have a headline or introduction, followed up with a summary or a body, and ending with a conclusion or an overall opinion. As for editorial letters, it mostly follows a format of a formal letter, and comics are written in a way that it is filled with panels, with illustrations and speech bubbles. As for online blogs, it has no fixed format. The real format of a blog is whatever the author can think of that makes the blog interesting and attention-grabbing. That is all for the comparison and contrast part in this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, we have come to the conclusion. So, movie review, comment, and also online blog is informal and is very laid back to connect with the reader, and they also have not that strict kind of format to each of them. And then we have newspaper report as well as letter to editor, which is very formal and is very strict to their own format. Thank you. That's all from us. Thank you.